Okay, we're live. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On today's show, I have a very special guest, returning guest. We spoke 2 or 3 weeks ago about this show. We're going to do a part two, but his name is Chris Taylor. He operates the Don't Let Them Burn YouTube channel. So go check that out. Also, go check out our earlier show. Like, you can go check it out. Title is Transhumanism, Occultism, and AI in Entertainment. And we did 2 hours March 20th. So we're going to try to set aside 2 hours today. And this will be our 9th or 10th show. So you can go through my archive. You can go to his YouTube channel, check out his other great content as well. I just saw his pastor on my friend Hervoy Morich's Geopolitics and Empire. So that was kind of cool to see him pop up because I remember Chris telling me about him. So I need to look into his work. It's Billy Crone, Crone.
Yeah.
And it seems very timely too. Like, so much is happening in the world. So much seems like biblical truth. Like, this is kind of like, wow, all this stuff is happening in the Middle East. Like, you literally could have Armageddon, which is a battle that takes place on the plains of Megiddo in present day, I think, Syria, or not Lebanon. But feels like all the anger's building up. And anyway, it's just all this AI and transhumanism stuff is just like all involved in this whole thing. But some of our earlier shows we talked about Hidden Dangers of the Rainbow, Occultism, Kanye West, Marina Abramovich. Epstein Files was February 26th of this year. So COVID deception. We did a group show, I think, back in 2020, I think, 2021. Anyway, title of this one again is Transhumanism, Occultism, and AI. So this will be a part two. So Chris Taylor, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me again. I'm glad to be here. We have a lot to get through.
All right. Well, let's get started. Where would you like to start?
All right. So this is like a part 3 of 5. So we did part 1 and part 2 last time, and now we're on part 3. And so I'll just do a slight recap for the audience or people that weren't here the last time. And basically, people are looking for eternal life without Jesus, and that's true through transhumanism. So we went over the lie of Satan. We went over how we're living in a fallen world. The lie of Satan is that we can become gods, and that's what people that are looking for eternal life without Jesus are looking for. This whole thing where humanity could do it. So we went through the words of Jesus. We went through eternal life, what it means. Artificial intelligence and the demonic connections. We went through occult magic, witchcraft, voodoo, animism, and zombies, and the correlation between those, automatons and the apotheosis, the mythology, and paganism, and how that connects as well. Hollywood, sci-fi, and comic books. Modern articles that encompass both tech and the occult. We went through spiritual energy, demonic power, and mind control. And we also went through enchanted objects, spiritual beings inhabiting artificial consciousness. We went through human machine hybrids, and we're going to touch on that again. And so transhumanism into posthumanism, where they want less people on the planet and more of what they would call the new race or human 2.0. So again, the lie of Satan is from Genesis 3:5. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Right? And so in Galatians it says that Galatians 6:8 says, whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. So this motif of eternal life is throughout the scriptures. Okay, and so the enemy of mankind is Satan, right? Or you can call him Lucifer, or you could talk about the demons and all this stuff, but he is the father of lies, as Jesus said, a murderer from the beginning. He is a deceiver, a counterfeiter, and a temporary king of this world. And so one of the laws of Satanism is the law of reversal. Anything God says to do or what God puts in place, he does the total opposite. And please remember that as we keep going. All right. So, have we been led down this path? Yes, there is a human component, but we're going to see throughout this that there is a spiritual component as well. And this, you could find this correlation through all sorts of cultures through antiquity. They think they're talking to gods when they're really talking to demons or fallen angels. And last time we covered evolution, but we're going to go tread back over that path again, so it becomes clear where since the 1800s, mid 1800s, where mankind has been going since then through the textbooks and all, right? So, is evolution a religion? Yes. And it seeks to convert. It requires total faith. It has a God. Sometimes you can call that an infinity or eternity or the Brahman or the universe. You hear this term a lot. The universe granted me this or that, right? Some of those ideas come from Hinduism. And we don't have time to go over that tonight, but just keep that in mind and you can research it for yourself. And does it have a temple? Yes, the universities. And this is the same stream where we get the deluge of Marxism, right? Evangelism, it comes through the media, whether it's books, doesn't matter, your news media, your movies, doesn't matter which form of media, it's there. And so the prophet is Charles Darwin, even though he wasn't the one that totally came up with the idea of evolution. So anyway, the enemy of evolution is creationism. God created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. That is the enemy of evolution. And so they want to stomp out the idea of God or creation and make you think that it came from aliens or panspermia, something seeded the planet, or we evolved from some sort of amoeba or monkeys or whatever, right? And then just a side note for a minute, we are also dealing with scientism. Basically, this is a religious belief only in science. Science will cure humanity, help humanity get to the next level of evolution, right? And so it says the definition of scientism, one method is methods and attitudes typical of or attributed to the natural scientist. And number two is an exaggerated trust in the efficacy of the methods of natural science applied to all areas of investigation, as in philosophy, the social sciences, and humanities, and go on and on. I just want to side note on that, so you know that what we've been going through or what we went through since 2020 was a part of scientism, and they told you to what? Trust the science. Okay, so
told you over and over and over again until you had it drilled into your head, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
They have their own creation myth. It's like there was this pool of water and a lightning bolt of all things hits the water, and that was the beginning of the sentient little cell began.
Right. And many people believe in evolution simply because of the artwork. We have all this artwork showing, man coming from monkey and onwards, and a bird can turn into a dog, a horse can turn into a whale, whatever, right? And it says here, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. And the change they're talking about here is not, immediate changes, some long change over millions and millions and millions of years. Before the millions of years it became about, it was just thousands of years, and then they changed it because Darwinism was dying out. And I don't have the evidence for you tonight, but you can search for that on your own. Then the first title of his book was On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. So it's all about racial superiority. Darwinism makes it feels like people just sprouted up in, say, Africa or India, wherever, and they're not part of one DNA stream. And so there was an expedition that came out that talking about the fallacies and the hypothesis of Mr. Darwin. That's there to your right. And you're going to see a lot of the trends that we're going to follow tonight comes from the 1800s, believe it or not.
You have
So
to remember too that Darwin's associated with the Royal Society. So a lot of these presentations and stuff were done through the king and queen, like literally through the royal family
mhm,
supported it. So this whole it's not a mistake that these ideas were formulated and promoted at the time when the British Empire really ruled the world, right? Because
mhm,
this ideas justified their empire because they
yes,
saw themselves as like the struggle for the favor and influence Hitler and all this other stuff.
yeah, yeah,
It
and
led to just horrors like
mhm,
Darwinism.
oh yeah. People might see this diagram and think that's an African guy. No, it's an Aborigine, and they call him a man-like ape. Okay, so if you want to use the term racism, which came about in the 1800s, then this would be it. Okay, so we go to the Nazi studied California's sterilization program in 1909 that they used as a template of their racial hygiene policies that eventually led to the Holocaust. This comes from Darwinism, and we'll keep going. Eugenics did not end after World War II. California's sterilization program continued until 1979. The British Eugenics Society lasted until 1989, then changed their name to, I think it's the Galton Institute, then the Adelphi Genetics Forum in 2021. So eugenics never went away. Says here by controlling this is Julian Huxley, by controlling the mechanism of heredity, the human species can, if it wishes, transcend itself not just sporadically, but in its entirety as humanity. If enough people can truly say, I believe in transhumanism, then the human species will be on the threshold of a new kind of existence, as different from ours as ours is from the Pekin man. It will at last be consciously fulfilling its reality, its real destiny. All right. So basically, what he's saying, we all have to have one mind and think the same and be on the same path here. Right. So,
And Huxley is not just some random figure. Like his great grandfather was Darwin's bulldog and all this stuff. Like, and his brother of Aldous Huxley, and
yeah.
it's incredible family history.
Yep. So the second wave eugenics, the Tescrill bundle, it involved transhumanism, extropanianism, singularitarianism, cosmicism, which we touched on a little bit last time, rationalism, effective altruism, and long-termism. The aim is not just to improve the human stock, but transcend humanity altogether. Translation: get away from what God created and make our own kind of humans. Okay. And so I just put this here just to um Adolf Hitler's plan. He planned a mass genocide starting with the Jews, who he called inferior, after reading the works of Darwin and Nietzsche. And there's a whole lot to cover, we could do plenty of shows on Hitler, but I just wanted to bring that up first. We're going to get back to Hitler in a second. Then we have Karl Marx, founder of scientific socialism, influenced by Hegel, Feuerbach, I think it's Feuerbach, and Henry, and wrote Das Kapital and Manifesto of the Communist Party. And again, he was influenced by Darwinism and Satanism. Then with Frederick Engels, just as Darwin discovered the law of evolution in organic nature, so Marx discovered the law of evolution in human history, right? So clearly he believes in evolution as well. And you're going to see some real atrocities come out of this stuff. And so all these guys right here, they believed in evolution. And some claim from evolution, a lot of them claim to be atheists. And atheism also leads to destruction. I'm not saying every atheist is going to jump out of a window and murder you, but these guys right here, the dictators, were atheists.
It's a predicate to so much like stuff because they're following this evolutionary cycle. So it's based on Darwin, but political evolution is going to lead to communism, and anything in that way is reactionary against this divine, well, not even divine, it's not the right word, but this inevitable thing. That's why they can just justify wiping people out.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said divine, because all these guys think, at least most of them think they're God, because when you look at the depiction of them in sculptures or paintings, they have a nimbus around them, divinity, right? So they have some sort of God complex as well. So Sigmund Freud compared mankind to animals, and that's why we call each other animals nowadays. And if you think like an animal, you might just act like it, right? Vladimir Lenin, over 4,000 dead. Joseph Stalin, millions of Russians dead after reading Darwin's book and became an atheist. Friedrich Nietzsche, he says he proclaimed that God is dead. He had other weird ideas too, but I'm just staying here showing you he believed in evolution too, and self-proclaimed atheist. Benito Mussolini, 23 million dead because of this ideology. Adolf Hitler, 17 million dead, and also he's involved in eugenics. This is a diagram here. Which dictator killed the most people? We have, I think it's Yakubu Gowon from Nigeria, 1966 to 1975, 1.1 million. Mengistu Haile Mariam, Ethiopia, 1974 to 1991. He killed 1.5 million. All of these are communists, by the way. Kim Tu-sung, North Korea, 1948 to 1994, killed 1.6 million. Pol Pot, Cambodia, 1963 to 1981, killed 1.7 million. Ismail Enver Pasha from Turkey, 1913 to 1919, killed 2.5 million people. Hideki Tojo from Japan, 1941 to 1944, killed 5 million people. Leopold II of Belgium, 1865 to 1909, killed 15 million people. Again, Adolf Hitler, 17 million. Joseph Stalin, 23 million. And Mao Zedong, 78 million in China. Okay, so it just keeps getting worse and worse as time goes on, right? So then just another diagram for you. I call this death by communism. These are not all the countries, as we just kind of went over. China, 78 million, USSR, 23 million, Africa, 2.5 million, Cambodia, 1.7 million, North Korea, 1.6 million, Afghanistan, 1.5 million, Vietnam, 1 million, Eastern Europe, 1 million, Latin America, 15 million. So that's just show you the death toll that comes out of erasing God from your memory and your culture and supplanting it with Satanism over the people. So again, have we been led? Remember, this trail is leading us to transhumanism, and some people that we don't suspect. Now, Nikola Tesla was not a communist as far as I know. So it's not really about the communists, it's about the spirits behind the people, okay? And so Nikola Tesla was a Serbian-American engineer, futurist, and inventor from 1856 to 1943. And he said, here, I don't have it on screen, but I'm going to read it to you. It says, my brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists, right? So that's regarding the realms. Now, regarding signals, he says, I can never forget the first sensations I experienced when it dawned upon me that I had observed something possibly of incalculable consequences to mankind. I felt as though I was present at the birth of a new knowledge or the revelation of a great truth. My first observation positively terrified me, as there was present in them something mysterious, not to say supernatural, and I was alone in my laboratory at night. But at that time, the idea of these disturbances being intelligently controlled signals did not yet present itself to me. The changes I noted were taking place periodically and with such a clear suggestion of number and order that they were not traceable to any cause known to me. I was familiar, of course, with such electrical disturbances as are produced by the sun, aurora borealis, and earth currents, and I was as sure as I could be of any fact that these variations were due to none of these causes. The nature of my experiments precluded the possibility of the changes being produced by atmospheric disturbances, as has been rashly asserted by some. It was sometime afterwards when the thought flashed upon my mind that the disturbances I had observed might be due to an intelligent control. Although I could not at the time decipher these meanings, it was impossible for me to think of them as having been entirely accidental. The feeling is constantly growing on me that I had been the first to hear the greeting of one planet to another. A purpose was behind these electrical signals. So you make of that what you will. I call it contacting spirits. He doesn't say that, but
He
clearly,
kind of he says it in a much more like an intelligent way, right?
yeah,
Like it's something else is
right.
going on here, guys.
Exactly. So that's just another depiction of him there. This is Tesla's Spirit Radio. So there's it's playing, it's right in the name, right? A Spirit Radio. And it's I think they said Spooky continues to live in the article there, but you can look up that article, read it for yourself. This is a realistic fashioning of the Spirit Radio. Clearly, we were on the cusp of, uh, electronic radios that like we have today, and back then there were devices that communicated overseas and all this stuff as well. So,
He said he could send electricity through the airwaves too. So
mhm,
you didn't need a wire. Like
yeah,
he had some device that I think they either suppressed or I don't know. And it's weird too because Trump's uncle was involved in like Tesla's papers, which is
yes,
kind of
yes.
strange.
Let me see here. So let's go to Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, who was a rival of Tesla. Let's see here. Thomas Alvis Edison was an American inventor and businessman. He developed many devices in fields such as electric power generation, mass communication, sound recording, and motion pictures. 1847 to 1931. You might be wondering, why am I bringing up this guy? Well, he was in contact with spirits too. When Thomas Edison tried besting Nikola Tesla by building a spirit phone, right? An article says here by the 1920s, Thomas Edison's legacy was secured. The American inventor had forever changed the world by introducing the phonograph, the motion picture camera, and the first particle incandescent light bulb. If he had decided to retire that year, his reputation as one of the greatest geniuses of the past 2 centuries would still be strong today. But he had plans for a new invention, and it was his most ambitious yet, a spirit phone that would be used to contact the dead. So he was into necromancy, for those that need a translation. Instead of merely frame fortune or scientific advancement, one of Edison's biggest motivations for the new machine was the chance to best a rival one last time. The rival's name, Nikola Tesla. And you can look up that article for yourself. I'm just trying to show you bits of pieces of evidence that a lot of people are not as they're not as great a genius as you think they are. They're in contact with spirits. Okay. And so next we're going to go to the usual suspects. These weirdos that we keep coming upon and hearing about all the time. Helena Blavatsky, the Theosophical Society. She was into all sorts of stuff, and we'll get to a little bit more of that in a minute. Margaret Sanger of Planned Parenthood, a Satanist, and whatever else they want to call her. Alice Bailey, she was part of the Theosophical Society as well, and she started Lucis Trust. The Theosophical Society is the foundation of the New Age movement, for those that don't know. So New Age doesn't sound as mysterious as Theosophical, right? And of course, Aleister Crowley, who was part of the Golden Dawn. I think he helped create it, right? The OTO, He developed
He went through the Golden Dawn, so he was a post Mason. Golden Dawn was a post Masonic ceremonial magicianal order, and he went through it. So
okay,
but he was his follower was Israel Regardi was very much involved in publication of some of that stuff.
okay,
It's still around. I think one of the original iterations of the Golden Dawn is still extant somewhere.
And then we have the OTO, Ordo Templi Orientis. He developed the religion of Thelema, and he have a ton of writings that you can research for yourself, or get William Ramsey's book on Aleister Crowley. He did all the research you need. And that little bulb head thing up there is Lamb, the alien-looking thing that contacted him. He was contacted by more than one spirit, but this is this is the one that people know the most about. Okay, so
I agree. That was in New York of all places, 1918, and it's included in his encyclopedia, The Equinox. It's actually a subset called the Blue Equinox, and Lamb was kind of like a honorific term. It's similar to the word Lama, like Dalai Lama, and it's probably the first instinct of the big-headed gray alien that we have in writing. It's just so remarkable too, because this is like, like his drawing of it. Like, how do you come up with this entity? And then it just goes through all these other people like Whitley Strieber and all this other stuff.
Right. Yeah. All right. So we're going to jump from there and try to get a little bit more granular with it. So Helena Blavatsky, pay attention to the dates, guys. Okay. She is a Russian occult writer, Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, often known as Madame Blavatsky, was a Russian and American mystic and author who co-founded the Theosophical Society in 1875. And she gained international following as a primary founder. All right, so let's go into a little bit of what she says. Well, this is she was a 32nd degree Mason and Luciferian witch, right? A lot of people that you're looking at today that you don't suspect are Masons and part of the Theosophical Society. And this is one of her quotes. And now it stands proven that Satan, or the red fiery dragon, or fiery dragon, sorry, the Lord of Phosphorus and Lucifer, or light bearer, is in us. It is our mind. I try to take notes on these quotes here, because it's going to come to fruition how it's indoctrinating people today. I have an example coming up. Now, this is her again. Satan, the enemy of God, is in reality the highest divine spirit. In this case, it is but natural to view Satan, the serpent of Genesis, as the real creator and benefactor, the father of spiritual mankind, for it is he who was the harbinger of light, bright, radiant Lucifer, who opened the eyes of the automaton created by Jehovah. What she's saying there is that Adam, before he got the breath of life from God, was an automaton. That's what she's saying. But clearly she worships Satan or Lucifer, whichever name you want to use. And then we have Alice Bailey, British American esoteric theosophist and writer, 1880 to 1949. Alice Ann Bailey was a writer of more than 24 books on theosophical subjects and was one of the first writers to use the term New Age. Bailey was born as Alice Latrobe Bateman in Manchester, England. She moved to the United States in 1907, where she spent most of her life writing all this junk that she writes, right? And
Externalization of the Hierarchy was like one of her most known works, if I remember correctly.
Let me see here. Okay, so she was the founder of Lucis Trust, formerly known as Lucifer Trust, did automatic writing, channeling, and made up a 10-point plan that allowed the United States nations to influence our society in many horrible and reprehensible ways. This is a quote from her. There is no question, therefore, that the work to be done in familiarizing the general public with the nature of the mysteries is of paramount importance at this time. These mysteries will be restored to outer expression through the medium of the church and the Masonic fraternity. When the Great One comes with his disciples and initiates, we shall have a restoration of the mysteries and their esoteric presentations as a consequence of the first initiation. There's a lot she's saying, veiled terms. Basically, they're waiting on Satan to come and the Antichrist, and they're building this society so that type of corrupt knowledge, the secret knowledge, the Gnosticism, will be revealed to the whole world. That's what she's saying. Okay. And when she says through the medium of the church, that could be anything. But they do want to corrupt the Protestant church along with anything else that calls itself a church. So make of that what you will. Let's see here. So she says here, Christianity must also be overthrown because it is based on Jewish sources. The rule of Christ must come to an end because only the rule of force is right. In the world order of the Axis powers, the individual has no rights. He has no freedom except in so far as he serves the state. Isn't that communism? Right? And whatever else you want to attach to that, pretty much, right? So they want to lead us into this world of slavery. It says here that between 1919 and 1949, her death, she produced 24 books, including the autobiography. 19 of these books were supposedly written by her Tibetan master, which is a demon, or Dual Koal, or Kull. During the intervening years, Alice Bailey spent most of it working out what she referred to as the plan.
Trust the plan, Chris. Trust the plan.
Right? The results of, and by the way, in that whole, movement, there was a lot of New Agers. Theosophical Society, Theosophy, again, for those that don't know, is the New Age. Okay. And so she influenced the birth of many New Age groups, the Church Universal and Triumphant, Benjamin Krem's the Tara Center, the Robert Mueller Schools, and the Temple of Understanding, to name just a few. So it already infiltrated what we would call the church. All right. So this is just a diagram showing some of the people I don't know all the names here, but Alice Bailey is in here somewhere. I downloaded this like over 2 years ago.
Is that the Ascended Masters or something?
Yeah,
like that? Yeah. So they have all these other Saint Germain, Dewaj Cool. I don't know. They have all these Ascended Masters, and they're just Rikorsky is one of them. That's who's apparently. Well, he used to say that. David Icke used to say he was in contact with Rikorsky. I think he dropped it once people realized, whoa, this isn't Christianity, bro.
Right.
But there's this winding stairway to heaven.
Yeah. And for people that
always hear about two pillars, it's all there.
For people that always hear about the checkered floor, that's because it's a symbol of duality, the fusion of opposites. Again, we talked about the force and all these things before. So moving along, here's a poster or a flyer of the Theosophical Monthly, which is there's Lucifer. This is a publication, Lucis Trust, whatever. And you got H.P. Blavatsky there and Mabel Collins. So they were writers for this. And right next to it, this is one of the patches I believe they had or something like that. Oh, Lucifer, please take my hand. So again, this is so anyway,
I know where that is.
Out of the Theosophical Society and the United Nations, this is the prayer room in the United Nations. Okay, now I have a kind of long diagram to read here.
They
Next,
call it the meditation room, which is
meditation.
very in like the terminology of the New Age and Theosophy is this whole, or even the modern kind of stuff of what Blavatsky was into was this whole meditation stuff. They love the meditation. You can go to their website too, the
Oh yeah,
Lucis Trust. Yeah.
yes, yes. And what's coming in a minute will, I think it will wake some people up to how real this stuff is. But I'm gonna read. This is pretty long-winded, but I think we need to get through this, right? So, United Nation Meditation Room, Lucis Trust, is sponsored by, among others, Robert McNamara, former Minister of Defense in the USA, President of the World Bank, member of Rockefeller Foundation, and Thomas Watson, IBM former ambassador in Moscow. Lucis Trust sponsors, among others, the following organizations: United Nations, Greenpeace International, Greenpeace USA, Amnesty International, and UNICEF. The United Nations has long been one of the most foremost world harbingers of the new spirituality and the gathering New World Order based on Asian occult and Freemasonic principles. 7 years after the birth of the UN, a book was published by the Theosophist and founder of the Lucis Trust, Alice Bailey, claiming that evidence of the growth of human intellect along the needed perceptive lines for the perception of the New Age can be seen in the planning of various nations and in efforts of the United Nations to formulate a world plan. From the very start of the unfoldment, 3 occult factors have governed the development of all these plans. And this is a quote from Alice Bailey's Discipleship of in the New Age, 1955, on the Lucis Press, Volume 2, page 35. And so moving along, although she did not spell out clearly the identity of these 3 occult factors, she did reveal to her students that within the United Nations is the germ and seed of a great international and mediating reflective group, a group of thinking and informed men and women in whose hands lies the destiny of humanity. Oh, that's big, right? This is largely under the control of many fourth ray disciples. Uh, William, do you understand what the fourth ray is?
Explain it to me. I
No,
used
no,
to.
I forgot, man.
Well, it's some kind of like rays, like the way that there's like the light and the rays. They're different levels of people involved. So it's some kind of hierarchical thing, if I remember correctly. I don't know.
Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, General Flynn might be a part of this.
He did say something that resonates with Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Like I think we did a show, didn't we do one where my memory's not that great, but
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
I did a show with somebody where like he's repeating stuff she said word for word.
Yes, yes, yes. So it says here, if you could but realize it, and their point of meditative focus is the intuitional or Buddhic plane, the plane upon which all hierarchical activity is today to be found. Um, to this end, the Lucis Trust, under the leadership of Foster and Alice Bailey, started a group called World Goodwill, on an official non-governmental organization within the United Nations. The stated aim of this group is to cooperate in the world of preparation for the reappearance of the Christ. For those that don't know, this is not talking about Jesus Christ. Okay, they use the term Christ to kind of get past your defense barriers in your brain. So, and this from One Earth, the magazine of the Findhorn Foundation, October 1986, page 24, issue 6. All right.
Findhorn is their kind of Esalen. It's very north in Scotland. It's actually kind of close to where Crowley's place was on Loch Ness, but it's kind of like a new age spiritual place.
All right.
So it's kind of important to understand, like that's where they go to do their meditations and stuff like that.
And for those that don't know, New Age it takes from every religion and counterfeits some of Christianity to kind of again get past the defense barriers.
Yeah, it's like a perennialist. It's like they get all this knowledge from other places.
Yeah. So, in the original plan for the new headquarters, a tiny room had been provided as a place dedicated to silence, where people could withdraw into themselves regardless of their faith. So we have a one world religion type thing going on there. Creed or religion, but Dag, sorry if I butcher this, but Hamar Skold, I don't know.
Yeah, Dag Hammarskjöld. Yeah, it's a tough
Um,
one. He died mysteriously. His plane crashed in like Central Africa, right around I think when they were taking over the Congo, and it's pretty much proven that he was taken out. And he was
Wow.
killed in a plane crash.
So Dag wanted something more.
He actually had sympathy for like Africans, which get you killed right off the top. Like I think that he was trying to prevent like the looting of the Congo, and
Oh yeah.
that's a life ender.
Oh yeah. So Dag wanted something more dignified. In his efforts, he was supported by a group composed of Christians, Jews, and Muslims, the Friends of the UN Meditation Room, okay, who combined their efforts and provided the money for a room worthy of a world organization. The work on the room began by Mr. Hammarskjöld, personally planned and supervised in every detail the creation of the meditation room. Journalist Pauline Frederick gave another example of his interest in an interview for the UN Oral History collection. Quote, he was instrumental in creating what he called the meditation room. He said that the house, which he referred to the UN frequently, this house must have one room dedicated to silence. For those that are wondering why silence, because in Buddhism and the Eastern traditions, you empty your mind, you get into a silent place, you don't think about anything, and suddenly, depending on how much you concentrate, you might get greeted by a spirit. Okay, so I remember very distinctly one night when I heard that he had been working most of the night, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, he called some of his aides in, and they assumed that they had been some bad news from one of the fronts where the United Nations emergency forces were then located. But he said, quote, I want to go down to the meditation room. And he took them down to the meditation room, and it was about, as I said, 2 o'clock in the morning. And there he spent considerable time directing the painters to put just the precise coat of paint on the walls of the meditation room, so the light would be just as he wanted it. So he had a very close feeling about the spiritual, and he felt that it should be the center of the United Nations. He had a special crew of painters working on the meditation room that evening. He said, we want to bring back in this room the stillness which have been lost in our streets and in our conference rooms, and to bring it back in a setting, in which no noise would impinge on our imagination, right? And so he banned chairs and replaced them with benches. In the center of the room, he placed a 6.5-ton regular block of iron ore, polished on the top and illuminated from above by a single spotlight. This block, which was a gift of the King of Sweden and a Swedish mining company, was the only symbol in the room. Mr. Hammarskjöld described it as a meeting of the light of the sky and the earth. It is the altar to the God of all. We want this massive altar to give the impression of something more than temporary. In addition, an abstract mural, a composition of interlocking geometric patterns, which is supposed to evoke a feeling of the essential oneness of God, was ordered by Dag Hammarskjöld from his artist friend Bo Beskow, which I know nothing about, whoever that is. And so this is the depiction here. I'm not sure what these geometric shape mean. Maybe somebody has decoded it. I don't know.
I think what was his name? William Cooper did a show on this, and he said that there was some kind of meaning there, like there's like 47 different forms or something weird, like he broke it down. I forgot.
Yeah. Well, so on Netflix there is a show called three-body problem, right? And the three-body problem, this is found in, astrophysics and whatever, but in the show, it's about sending a signal to aliens. And there's a problem getting the signal around, I think, Jupiter, the sun, and one other body, right? And so they have to figure this out. In the meantime, these strange anomalies are happening on the planet. This clock keeps counting down. I haven't watched the show in a long time, so I don't have the whole thing to tell you. But you also have these VR glasses that put people into alternate worlds. Pretty freaky stuff. But to the point about the meditation room, we get to this guy. I don't remember his name, but he's a reluctant person that doesn't want to be the representative of planet Earth. And the leader, or I don't know what she's called in the UN, is trying to convince him to be the envoy. You're to take up the mantle, the task. And where do they end up? Oh, wait a minute. Look at that. In the meditation room. That's where she convinces him.
Wow.
I was thrown back when I saw this. I was like, wow.
That's incredible.
I would have never thought that they would have put this in a film. And a lot of people you tell about the meditation room, they think you're crazy, that, right? They think, oh, come on, really? There it is, right there in the film. Okay, so the next person, as we talk about a lot, is Mr. Crowley, right? And so, again, remember the dates. Aleister Crowley was born in 1875, October, and died in 1947. An English occultist, ceremonial magician, a poet, a painter, a novelist, and a mountaineer who developed the religious and philosophical system of Thelema. And I don't need to read more. You just look at the creepy pictures.
That's the sign of Pan. He's in a ceremonial hat, the triangle with the eye of Horus, so it's not the eye of God.
Right.
The thumbs are out, so this is all like symbolic gestures, I guess.
Right. And there you have down there Pazuzu, which is also like the Lord of the Flies, which goes back to Baal. And we don't have to break down all this the symbolism, but we know that he wanted to, they called him the Beast, and he was into the 666 stuff and very sick stuff at the same time. So he dabbled in the Kabbalah and Egyptian mysticism and all this stuff, and
everything occult. Like, he was really a magus. I mean, you have to give his credit to his intelligence, but
right.
Like, I think he covered so much Eastern mysticism, like everything, yoga, I Ching, a lot of stuff. But you can read Prophet of Evil, my book, Prophet of Evil, published 2010. I can't believe it. 16 years ago, but it's all there.
Yeah. And he was very into sexuality, like Pan. He will have sex with anything, okay? Including young little ones. Let's put it that way. Okay, so anyway, let's look at some of his quotes, because where we go in a minute, you will see some other stuff. Since all things are God, in all things thou seest just so much of God as thy capacity afforded thee. I don't know why he's writing in antiquated, language, but whatever. Basically, all things are God. That's repeated in witchcraft and other things. God is in everything, and that's not true. And he says here, the serpent, Satan, is not the enemy of man, but he who made gods of our race, knowing good and evil. He bade know thyself and taught initiation. Next one, the Thelemite does not suffer death. He is eternal and perceives himself, the universe, by virtue of the categories of life and death. Then he says, one would go mad if one took the Bible seriously, but to take it seriously, one must be already mad. So
can you go back to that other quote too? Because there's something interesting. That quote is from Magic and Theory and Practice.
Yes,
and if you get the full quote from Magic and Theory and Practice, he admits the entity AWAS that dictated to him the book of the law is Satan. So
Mm.
the longer quote of this, if you just type this into a search engine, you probably can find the longer quote, but it reveals that he's just using coded terms when he's saying AWAS, which
Yeah,
he received that book in 1904.
yeah. And that quote about AWAS was in Our Gods Were Spandex about the superheroes. Let's see here. So another one, I was not content to believe in a personal devil and serve him in the ordinary sense of the word. I wanted to get hold of him personally and become his chief of staff. And there are more horrible quotes by Aleister Crowley. But the other day, I'm watching Invincible, and Invincible is not a show I recommend. I don't recommend it. I'm just researching and trying to see what's out there. And so they're on season 4 now. And I have my problems with Invincible. I probably cover that in another show, right? And so we get to season 4, episode 4. And the reason I'm showing you this is because of everything we just read. Okay, so I'm not sure about the word Herm. I know Hermes and whatever. Do you know anything about that
It
word?
doesn't come to mind. No, nothing comes to
Okay,
mind.
all right. So the premise of the episode is they're in hell, and Mephistopheles, aka Satan, is there, and with his demon people, or whatever you want to call them, not people, but there's spirits, whatever. And they get defeated by Volcanica. This is, of course, you got to separate the myth from the allegory to the reality, right? And so Satan stands defeated, and his demon friend Damien says, "We need to conjure somebody to come and help us." And what they try to do is conjure who's called Omni-Man. Omni-Man is the one there in the gray and red cape to the left. Okay, that's Invincible's father. So they decide to conjure him. So they do this blood ritual, which is not surprising. They're in hell, they're demons, whatever, right? And so they start the ritual, and of course, there's the blood, and they start a ritual. They start saying weird stuff, so I didn't really bother taking those words to try to repeat them here, right? So they do the pentagram, and the portal starts to open, and chains come out, and Invincible shows up. He's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be Omni-Man, but Omni-Man isn't on the planet. He's away, either dead or alive. No one, most of them don't know where he is, right? And so Invincible, he says, "Oh, not Omni-Man. This is Damien right here, the demon that the secret, you would call it the CIA or NSA of that universe. They worked with this demon to solve cases." And so Omni-Man's like, "Whoa, so hell is actually real?" Now, Omni-Man, I wouldn't call him I'm sorry, not Omni-Man, but Invincible, I wouldn't call him a Christian. But he believes in hell, he believes in heaven, and he believes in a God, but he's not, I wouldn't call him saved or anything like that. Right? So what you're gonna witness here is the deconstructing of Invincible, his thoughts, his beliefs by a demon and by Satan. And when I saw this episode, I was blown away. This is just straight Crowleyism or whatever you want to call it, right? So demon says, yes, hell, demons, and Satan. Basically, it's all real, right? And then he says, Invincible says, aren't demons the bad guys? No offense. He says, do not let surface dwellers superstition cloud judgment. And Satan, not evil. Didn't we just hear this before? Right? He says, your world not threatened by Satan. Your world exists because of Satan. He says, okay, what? And he says, surface dwellers live in sixth age of existence. Now, this is where the fantasy, the imagination, the mythology starts to come in, and then they'll get back to indoctrination, right? So just bear with me for a second. And so basically, the surface dwellers are unaware of previous 5 ages. Surely notice giants, monsters, behemoths that remain. He says are from the second age. They're not a radiation thing, basically like how Godzilla was made by radiation and all. That's what he's trying to allude to. And so He says, and thankfully are lesser creatures than old ones from first age, right? And Satan and demons are of fifth age. We do not speak of third age. Well, he says, Invincible says, well, you also left out the fourth. And Damien does this thing where he's trying to make a joke, but it falls flat. But anyway, fourth age was chaos. For millions of years. Now, this is evolution, guys. The millions of year thing that comes from evolution. For millions of years, a vial ruled planet above and below. Now, the vial that he's talking about it's kind of an allegory, but at the same time, he's talking about like what we would call titans. Okay, rule the planet above and below, right? And so there are foul creatures with eternal hunger, cannot be killed. Somehow survived the fifth age. War between us lasted eons. Threatened planet with destruction, and Satan comes up behind them. This is Mephistopheles, Satan, demons drove vial to here. So basically the vial are underneath all the lava, and then they torture them and whatnot. Just bear with. So they call it the underrealm, which is basically just hell. And he said they imprisoned them, kept them weak with torture. Without demon sacrifice, humans never evolve. Okay, there goes the evolution thing, right? Never grow, no cities, no language, no you. All right. Then he says, Satan led demons against the file so others may live in peace. You kind of owe him everything. Okay, so he's saying mankind owes Satan everything. And he says, thanks, I guess, And hold on a second. Satan says, our sacrifice is not entirely altruistic. Unending torture was already our thing. Oh, so this place is just deep into the earth. That's Invincible talking. And Damien says yes. And so now they transition from here to where in the Bible it talks about the bottomless pit, and Satan's crown is in the bottomless pit, guarded by the Cerberus from, I think, Roman mythology. And so they're after Satan's crown to give him power again, which again, you got to separate the myth from the allegory from reality. Okay. And so as they're going down this bottomless pit, he says, hey, if there's a hell, does that mean there's a heaven too? That's Invincible. And Damon says, no heaven we know of. World doesn't have balance that humans pretend there is. No one keeping track of good deeds and bad deeds. And Invincible says, oh, the demon says, see, this is bad news. Think other way. If world ever brought truly to side of good, no need for balance. Make earth heaven instead of imaginary one in sky. Ooh. Right? We've heard through all sorts of new age and all this sorts of propaganda that there's hell on earth and we could make earth into a heaven, a utopia, and all this stuff, right? Pretty much what he's saying. And Invincible says, huh? He says, and so anyway, the battle ensues and he defeats the cherubus really quickly. And so he brings the crown back to Satan and says, check it out. It's not as hot as it looks. And he throws it, and Damien's like, oh, it's fragile, da-da-da. And anyway, Satan captures it, and he comes back up. You got the crown, and he says, Satan says, gratitude, surface dweller, for returning what is rightfully mine. Eons ago, he starts his diatribe now. Eons ago, I rose from the blackened ash of the reign of chaos and claimed the infernal throne. Oh, by the way, guys, demons and Satan, they fear hell. They don't want to be there. So it's not a king in hell, Mephistopheles and Mephisto and all that stuff. No such thing as this. So eons ago, I rose from the blackened ash of the reign of chaos and claimed the infernal throne of the reign of chaos and claimed... Oh, okay, wait a minute here. I forged this molten crown and imbued it with the souls of the vanquished, with their power coursing through my vessel. I ruled over an era of peace Peace, right? Okay. The underrealm had never seen. In the millennia of my rule, nary in tooth without flesh and gnaw, our kind grew fat and satiated, but also weak. And this is where he's transforming into his true form, according to the story. Torment of the vile does not prepare one for war. We must draw upon the memories of the old, the tearing of muscle and shattering of bone, the glory of domination. We must quake these caverns with our might until our victims beg for mercy through jaws crushed beneath our heels. And then he starts laughing, electric guitars start playing, and he's like, yeah, baby, whoa. They're trying to make Satan into a cool guy for people to like him, right? And I'm looking big, I'm looking mean, whoa, I'm looking hot, oh yeah. Yeah, I'm back. And Damien bows and says, my lord. And then he looks at Invincible like, aren't you gonna bow? And credit to the writers, Invincible says, I'm not bowing to Satan, right? So Damien and Invincible walk off, and then Damien says, not as you imagined. Invincible says no. Then here comes more deconstruction. Surface world made hell into bedtime story to keep humans good. But humans good without. The Bible tells us that there is none good, no, not one. That's why we need a savior called Jesus Christ, right? And then Invincible says, I don't know. He's conflicted, basically. And then Damien says, you do. And Invincible is like, I do what? You know. Speaking of yourself, basically, because he's conflicted in good and what he has some issues. And I helped you get the crown. Just send me back already. And say the path of good is difficult. Sometimes must choose the least of two evils. Demons torture vile, world safe. So basically, he said the world is kept safe through demonic rule. Demons not torture vile, all die. And Invincible says, no, that's bull. Says here, there's always another way that doesn't involve torture or killing. And maybe, I think this is Damien talking, maybe have not found yet, the world could not wait. Basically, he's saying if they don't do it, the world won't be saved. Okay? So there's your Crowleyan deconstruction of a hero that many kids look at. And this was a totally demonic episode. Anything you want to say on that?
Wow, no, it's just crazy that the people are being exposed to that, you know. Damien and Satan and this whole kind of like mangled theology or something.
It's crazy, right?
Doctrine of demons or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the next person. Now, remember, guys, if you just tuned in, you weren't here at first, the road we're on here is, are we being led down the path of Satanism, transhumanism, becoming something else that God created, bowing down to technocracy and AI and fusing ourselves with this whole thing? So this is, see if I get this name right, Srinivasa Ramanujan, okay? He was born in 1887, was an Indian mathematician often regarded as one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. Though he had almost no formal training in pure mathematics, he made substantial contributions to mathematical analysis, right? So that's the picture of the real guy. And this movie came out a few years back. Can't remember the exact date, not too long ago. It's called The Man Who Knew Infinity. Remember I told you that infinity, the universe, and these things all correlate in an esoteric occult fashion, okay? And so this is just a presentation of his mathematical writings or whatever, formulas. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. This is actually a short video on him.
Most of Srinivasa Ramanujan's knowledge came from a single mathematics book. He spent all of his time thinking about math and little else. It's no wonder he flunked out of college twice.
Yet somehow he found his way to the University of Cambridge to perform groundbreaking research on mathematical problems.
Ramanujan was born on December 22, 1887 in Erodi, a town south of Madras, what's now called Chennai, in South India. He was considered a miracle child, the only one of his mother's first 4 children to survive infancy. He also survived an outbreak of smallpox. Poor health would afflict him his whole life, yet it never slowed down his passion. Math equations danced in his head as if they appeared from thin air. He believed his gifts came from the Hindu goddess Namagiri. He used to go to the nearby Sarangapini temple as a boy to sketch complex mathematical equations in chalk on stone slabs.
As a teen, he got his hands on a copy of This Book of Math Theorems by British mathematician George Carr. It was meant as a teaching aid for students. However, many students actually struggled to read this book because it listed answers without showing the steps to get there. But for Ramanujan, this book awakened the genius in him.
Carr's book was like a crossword puzzle, with its empty grids begging to be filled in.
All right, so there you have it. So let's go back.
Sensing a theme here.
Yes.
They're all getting information from entities or somewhere else.
So the movie, The Man Who Knew Infinity, illustrates this. So this is a professor, and they became friends, and the professor is an atheist. Okay, so at this point, the guy's in the hospital, the Indian guy, and so the atheist professor here is saying, "I'm sorry, I've not been able to be a better friend to you in the traditional sense." And he says, "I know you've needed one, but I'm not very good at all at that. You want," and then this guy's name, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He says, "You want us to know how I get my ideas? My God, Namagiri." And I didn't know the background before I saw this movie, so I'm watching this movie. I'm like, "Oh snap! They really admitted it, you know." And so, Namagiri Devi, also known as Namagiri Tayar, is a powerful form of goddess Lakshmi, and is revered as the goddess of mathematics, particularly associated with the mathematician Srinivasa Ramanujan. She is considered a fierce protector and is worshipped at the Namagiri temple in Namakal, over there in Tamil Nadu, right? And at the side there it says the Narimashwami temple is a temple located in Namakal, a town in the Namakal district in the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu. It is dedicated to the Hindu god Narashima, considered an avatar for Vishnu. The temple displays Dravidian style of architecture and rock cut architecture construction. And so here are some more depictions of that's him with the stupid false god demon, and other depictions of her, and even with the mathematics coming to the child in the dream. Okay, here are other depictions here, and even this is bold. Namagiri speaks where logic ends, and she's influenced through dreams. All right. So again, a lot of the people that we think are so talented, they're great actors and dancers and magicians and all, a lot of them have demons behind them. This is just a few. These are just a few examples based on the topic we're covering tonight. So Jack Parsons, now you know a lot about him.
I do.
Turn of the century, 1914 to 1952. John Whiteside Parsons was an American rocket engineer, chemist, and thelemite occultist. Parsons was one of the principal founders of both the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the Aerojet Engineering Corporation. This is a picture of him with one of his explosives in his hand, and also his wife, right?
Yeah, it's Marjorie Cameron was her name.
And she wasn't innocent, guys. Okay.
She's not.
Yeah.
Look at
And
her art. You want to have a bad day, see what she painted.
oh yeah. All right, so let me see here. Strange Angel was a book written by George Pendle. If you want to go do some more research, you want to look into that. And Jack Parsons, Jet Propelled Antichrist is another book. There was also the TV series Strange Angel. He was devoted to Crowleyan, the Crowleyan religion. Okay.
Crowley said he was his most important disciple.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so let me see here what's written in my notes here. Strange Angel, a drama series created by Mark Heyman, Black Swan and the Wrestler, and based on George Pendle's book of the same name, explores a dramatic intersection between genius and madness, science and science fiction. The story follows the life of Jack Parsons, a mysterious and brilliant man in 1930s Los Angeles, who by day helps birth the entirely unknown discipline of American rocketry, and by night is a performer of sex magic rituals and a disciple to occultist Aleister Crowley. One of the quotes from a book, it says, "But Parsons was a complicated individual. He signed a document stating that he was the Antichrist. He dedicated his spiritual life to summoning the whore of Babylon, the lustful beast riding divinity prophesied in the book of Revelation, in order that she could claim dominion over the entire world." Parsons was born on the 2nd of October 1914, which happened to be the date that Charles Taze Russell of Jehovah's Witness claimed would usher in Armageddon. So we have two occult strands there. And this was from the book by John Higgs, Black Magic, Nazi Scientists, and Nuclear Panic, How We Got to Outer Space. All right, so a little bit more here. That's his wife again. And in the middle there, you see mystical symbols. Kabbalistic symbols are inscribed on the lid of this box, containing private papers of John W. Parsons, the explosive expert who was killed in explosion. Friends said symbols point to flair for mysticism, which fascinated him as much as deadly explosives. All right, so next we have, unless you have anything else to say about Parsons.
When he was involved in unspeakable depravity. He thought he was like the one who came after from the Book of the Law. He wrote his kind of follow-on, like another chapter. Book of the Law came in 3 chapters, so he wrote supposedly a 4th. And he took the oath of the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And he supposedly met the devil, like the devil appeared to him at a very early age. And he had a very inappropriate relationship with his mother.
Yeah.
Allegedly, so very dark.
And if I'm not wrong, didn't he have another inappropriate relationship with the man we're about to talk about?
Yes.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Excuse me.
L. Ron Hubbard, American writer and Scientology founder, born in 1911, died in 1986. Lafayette Ronald Hubbard, was an American author and the founder of Scientology, a prolific writer of pulp science fiction and fantasy novels. Now, remember, guys, there's a huge correlation with science fiction and a lot of things we're talking about tonight, so don't miss that. So he wrote pulp science fiction and fantasy novels in his early career. In 1950, he authored the pseudo-scientific book Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health, and established organizations to promote and practice Dianetics techniques. Right? So most of you should be familiar with Scientology. We're not going to go down the whole rabbit hole, but it's not a church. And it's not even a true religion. It's just a way to suck money from people and brainwash them. So L. Ron Hubbard, well, it's technically a religion, but it's a pseudo religion. You know, they hide their scriptures and metal boxes in the desert and all sorts of stuff. I mean, you got to go do a whole deep dive on Scientology. But
I've had an ex-member on my show, and just some of the stuff that they did and how profound it is, they really tried to reach into people's minds and kind of fulfill what Crowley thought about a lot of people as the slave shall serve. I
yeah,
think that Hubbard was comfortable enslaving people mentally.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, I forgot to mention he is a devotee of Aleister Crowley as well. And so it says here, L. Ron Hubbard, inventor of the Hubbard electrometer, its use was to determine whether tomatoes experience pain. His work led him to conclude that tomatoes scream when sliced. Later, he founded the Church of Scientology so he could experiment with other vegetables. So next,
He also believed that a lot of your like existential pain came from earlier lives, which is evolutionary. So when you were a clam and you experience pain, or somebody ate you, like in a previous life, that was like part of your thing, and you had to get it out of your business. This is true. Like, it's in one of his books. So he integrated ideas of evolution, which is kind of like one of your themes, ideas of evolution, into his pseudo religion. It's a religion. It's just so strange, but it's like self-programming hypnotism. It's almost like A Course in Miracles.
Yeah. Well, as you see from where we started to where we are now, there are deep correlations with evolution, atheism, hating God or acting like he doesn't exist, and Romans 1, which I don't have up here to show you, but if you know your Bible, you know what I'm speaking of. It tells you that all of these things come out of the unbelief of God, that he exists, that Jesus Christ is the Savior, and all of this comes out of this. So don't be surprised that people are doing these things in a fallen world. So next, end of World War II, we get Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were taken from former Nazi Germany to the U.S. for government employment after the end of World War II in Europe between 1945 and 1959. Several were former members of the Nazi Party. Now, it wasn't just America that got them too. British got them. I think Russia got some too. But we're paying attention to America right now. So German scientists recruited by the U.S. I'm just showing you some proof of newspaper clips that this actually happened for people that don't believe that this stuff happened. So basically, we took a lot of the Nazi, the best of the best, to jumpstart our programs, right? So this is a book, Operation Paperclip: The Secret Recruitment. There's Werner von Braun, author Rundolph, Herman Oberth. I don't know too much about these guys because I only have so much time to research, but here you can look it up yourself. And
Jack Parsons used to call Werner von Braun. They were basically close to each other, so he was calling von Braun to ask him questions. So it was a direct connection. And von Braun was literally paperclipped. He was a higher-ranking Nazi at a place where they had literal slaves, like they had war slaves and stuff. It's really dark,
crazy. Okay. So the reading down here at the bottom says Operation Paperclip granted nearly 1,000 German scientists American citizenship. Many had been longtime members of the Nazi Party and the Gestapo and had conducted experiments on humans and concentration camps. At concentration camps and committed other war crimes. The scientists ended up in the U.S. military industrial complex, worked with the CIA and NASA and more. One of the Nazi experiments that continued in America was mind control, known as the CIA's Project MK Ultra, which is a whole nother deep dive. So Annie Jacobson came out with her book, Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America. You could pick that up and read it for yourself. Plenty of evidence in there of what happened. And then we get to Werner von Braun, which is part of that system. I don't have a lot to say on him, but he helped to further NASA. It's reported that he became a Christian later on in his life. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'll take it at face value. It says, so he's born 1912, died in 1977, and his name is Werner Magnus Maximilian Freiherr von Braun. Was a German-American aerospace engineer and space architect. Give me a second here. All right, so that's another picture of him, and then you have a book written there by Eric Bergost. And that's unless you have more to say on Warner, I'm going to go ahead.
Just incredibly smart guy before calculators and all that stuff. A lot of space flight or aerospace, you have to have a very good understanding of like geometry and just high level math thinking. So the guy was really smart. They washed him. Like, I mean, he was involved in World War II. I think he infamously said, like, I shot for the stars and hit London, because he was the head of the V2 rocket, which they like shot into London. It's kind of like German humor, which is not that funny, actually.
Yeah. It's so much weird stuff going on with the Nazis. So much spiritual connections and secret societies, and oh my goodness.
Overlaps with Blavatsky. Like, they supposedly Hitler had on his side table blown of Blavatsky's book. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I mean, all the Aryan stuff came out of her, like root races, work, and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So next we go to human machine hybrids. I know it might seem like a really large jump to go to this, but this is all connected. Okay. So when we ended up last time on the last show, we ended up talking about Blade Runner. Okay. And for those that don't know, Blade Runner came out in the 80s, science fiction about these robots basically that look human, and people that would hurt them or whatever. It's a long story, but Deckard, who's the cop, who's a human, has sex with this robot here. Okay.
Well, that's kind of one of the twists of Blade Runner, is that in the original director's cut, there's a question on whether he's actually human, because he has that dream of the unicorn.
Yeah.
And then his coworker keeps making him those little origami unicorns.
Yeah.
And that's his sign to him that the coworker knows he's a robot. That's kind of one of the ironic things about the whole show.
And there's fan debate about is he or is he not, but let's just say he's not. Give you a concept to go on, right? He has sex with this lady, and nothing is revealed in the movie until the next movie. Okay. That's Blade Runner 2049. They have a child. And this is the child, but she has a immune deficiency or something. So she has to stay in this bubble. And that's pretty much the movie. Okay, the two movies. It's a long explanation to even break down both of these movies. So the question is mankind being led to do things that are unnatural? I mean, clearly the answer is yes, but it's even worse than that. Because this article says, could robots have sex? Experts believe machines could reproduce with each other and even humans within 30 years. This article came out in 2014. And so George Zarkadakis thinks robots could have sex to produce superior offsprings. Remember, it's about evolution. It's not about making mankind better, really. But it says here they can make superior offsprings. It is thought that robots could print out their offsprings. Mark Zarkadakis suggests they could breed with humans to create new hybrid species. But scientists warn there are ethical implications. No duh, right? Cybernetic experts told Mail Online mating robots could be produced using current technologies, but it will take 20 to 30 years before they could be used, right? Next thing is 2025, with robophilia set to regulate romance. And there are people out there that say that women will use these sex robots more than men. But this is robophilia. Wasn't there a push to get pedophilia more normal? Well,
Yeah, it's now called MAPS. It's a minor attracted person.
exactly. I'm just taking my time to get it out there, you know. And I can't remember what year this article came out of, expressco.uk, but I believe it was either 2014 or 2015, 16. And so that's a part of the whole human hybrid issue. And there's more coming up, but I'm going to go to transhumanism and posthumanism, right? And so this little video right here will teach you some things.
Transhumanism, the philosophy that says humans are great, but have you tried humans 2.0? It's like a software update, but for your entire species. Born from science fiction dreams and Silicon Valley schemes, transhumanism asks, why settle for normal human limitations when we could be superhuman? The philosophical roots of transhumanism can be traced back to the Enlightenment thinkers of the 18th century, who believed in the power of reason and science to improve the human condition. Figures like Marquis de Condorcet and Julian Huxley helped lay the foundations for transhumanist ideas, envisioning a future where technology could overcome human limitations. In the 20th century, the transhumanist movement began to come together, with influential thinkers like FM 2030 and Robert Ettinger promoting the idea of upgrading the human species through technological means. Ettinger's 1964 book, The Prospect of Immortality, was a seminal work that popularized cryonics as a path to post-human existence. Another key figure was Hans Moravec, a roboticist who in the 1980s proposed the idea of transferring human consciousness into machines. This concept of mind uploading became a central tenet of transhumanist thought. The 1990s saw the rise of the World Transhumanist Association, founded by philosophers Nick Bostrom and David Pearce. Bostrom's work on the philosophical and existential implications of advanced technologies has been highly influential in the field. More recently, prominent transhumanist thinkers include Ray Kurzweil, a futurist and director of engineering at Google, who has predicted a singularity where technological progress becomes so rapid that it leads to a transformation of the human condition. Genetic engineering is on the menu too, trying to bring designer babies to the table, but also designer adults. Critics worry transhumanism might create a divide between enhanced and non-enhanced humans, like high school cliques, but with quirks and superpowers. There are plenty of ethical concerns as well, but they argue the real ethical issue is not using tech to improve ourselves. So, whether you see transhumanism as humanity's next great leap or a sci-fi nightmare, one thing's clear. The future is going to be weird. A future where being yourself might require a user manual. But hey, at least you'll live long enough to read it. If you enjoyed this, you can like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
All right. So there's your very short breakdown of
Transhumanism.
Transhumanism. Okay, so we're gonna get to brain-computer interfaces and more transhumanism. So a brain-computer interface, sometimes called a brain-machine interface, is a direct communication link between the brain's electrical activity and an external device, more commonly a computer or robotic limb. BCIs are often directed at researching, mapping, assisting, augmenting, or repairing human cognitive or sensory motor functions. All right. And another breakdown here, brain-computer interfaces, BCI, are devices that create a direct communication pathway between a brain's electrical activity and what we just read, right? So brain chips are pretty much going to become a thing in the near future. They're already a thing, but it's not ubiquitous, okay? So we have 2045 Avatar project milestones. And this is on 2045.com. If you haven't watched the video or visited the website, you have a trove of information there that you can go research yourself. So from 2015 to 2020, a robotic copy of a human body, room only controlled by BCI, brain-computer interface. From 2020 to 2025, an avatar in which a human brain is transplanted at the end of one's life. From 2030 to 2035, an avatar with an artificial brain in which a human personality is transferred at the end of one's life. And from 2040 to 2045, a hologram-like avatar. An avatar is a representation, embodiment of a Hindu god, but it's used in all sorts of different definitions now today. But that's right. They're talking about putting your soul into a hologram, basically. All right. I'm not saying all of this is going to happen. I'm just showing you their plans. This is transhumanism, guys. Okay. So I'm going to show you a video from 2045.com that explains everything to you in detail in a very short frame of time. Okay. Listen, take notes, and let's go.
The 2045.com international social network for open innovation is expanding. Here, anyone interested may propose a project, take part in working on it, or fund it, or both. In the network, there are scientists, scholars, researchers, financiers, and managers. 2013 to 2014, new centers working on cybernetic technologies for the development of radical life extension rise. The race for immortality starts. 2015 to 2020, the avatar is created. A robotic human copy controlled by thought via brain-computer interface. It becomes as popular as a car. In Russia and in the world appear, in testing mode, several breakthrough projects. Android robots to replace people in manufacturing tasks. Android robot servants for every home. Thought-controlled avatars to provide telepresence in any place of the world and abolish the need for business trips. Flying cars, thought-driven mobile communications built into the body or sprayed onto the skin. 2020 to 2025, an autonomous system providing life support for the brain and allowing it interaction with the environment is created. The brain is transplanted into an Avatar B. With Avatar B, man receives new, expanded life. 2025. The new generation of avatars provides complete transmission of sensations from all 5 sensory robot organs to the operator. 2030 to 2035, Rebrain. The colossal project of brain reverse engineering is implemented. World science comes very close to understanding the principles of consciousness. 2035. The first successful attempt to transfer one's personality to an alternative carrier. The epoch of cybernetic immortality begins. 2040 to 2050. Bodies made of nanorobots that can take any shape arise alongside hologram bodies.
Oh my goodness, what happened? I don't know what happened there.
2020 to 2025. An autonomous system. With Avatar B, man receives new, expanded life. 2025. The new generation of avatars provides complete transmission of sensations from all 5 sensory robot organs to the operator. Implemented. World science comes very close to understanding the principles of consciousness. 2035. The first successful attempt to transfer one's personality to an alternative carrier. The epoch of cybernetic immortality begins. 2040 to 2050. Bodies made of nanorobots that can take any shape arise alongside hologram bodies.
I don't know. I keep stopping, but
It's not that far off.
yeah, exactly. Let me see if I can get it to keep going here.
2040 to 2050. Bodies made of nanorobots that can take any shape arise alongside hologram bodies.
Oh, let's keep stopping. But anyway, it's close to the end there.
The 2045.com.
You see that we're pretty close, but they're behind. But what are you seeing right now? The application of robots everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Right? So we might see this person, this politician, these people that seemingly aren't a part of it. And they don't necessarily have to be a part of the core, but they could see this as, again, humanity's next step. We need to put robots in place. We need to have cars communicating together and all this. But all of this is transhumanism, because you have to transfer what we have as normalcy into abnormalcy, right? And most people aren't paying attention. And so they talked about the BCIs, right? So this next clip is from a video game developer, Gabe Newell. I just want to show you, see, notice I didn't show you anything about Elon Musk because everybody knows Elon Musk is doing Neuralink.
Right.
But he's not the only person developing this stuff. So I'm going to play this clip right here.
A lot of our product design discussions sound like science fiction. As soon as you're doing anything with neuroscience, you're like, it's indistinguishable from science fiction now. Our ability to create experience in people's brains that are not mediated through their meat peripherals will actually be better than is possible. So you're just experiencing the world through eyes, but eyes were created by this low-cost bidder who didn't care about failure rates and RNAs, and if it got broken, there was no way to repair anything effectively. So, it's like totally makes sense from an evolutionary perspective, but is not at all, reflective of consumer preferences. So the visual experience, the visual fidelity will be able to create through, the real world will stop being the metric that we apply to the best possible visual fidelity, and instead it's like the real world will seem flat, colorless, blurry compared to the experiences that you'll be able to create in people's brains.
Is that Alan Newell?
Way in which I think
Gabe Newell.
It's like the Matrix said, oh, and we'll create something that's like reality. And I think with BCIs, fairly quickly we'll be able to create experiences that are superior to what. But that's not where it gets weird. Where it gets weird is when who you are becomes editable through a BCI, right? So like, oh, I'm feeling unmotivated today. Right now, we think that that's like this fundamental personality characteristic that is relatively intractable to change. And instead it'd be like, oh, I'm going to just turn up my focus right now. My mood should be this. Once you can start editing, you start having these feed forward and feedback loops in terms of who you want to be, which is a weird thing to talk about. Right, I think it's an inevitable consequence of what I see happening with BCI, but I don't even have the terminology yet to explain what the problem is concisely. You just heard me go for a couple of minutes trying to sort of circle around this description, which at some point will be, oh, well, it's just a simple math equation that you can use to talk about the choices that the people will be making in terms of who they decide to be who they are as an editable thing, and then I think you'll end up in situations where the kinds of experiences that you have will be complicated choices that you make. Right now, we know the things that we like, but with BCI and with what's coming in terms of neuroscience, the experiences that you have will now be things that are created and edited for you. Like one of the early applications I expect we'll see is improved sleep, right? It's like, sleep will now become an app that you run where you're like, oh, I need this much sleep, I need this much REM, but it's now, rather than, I'll fluff my pillows this way and I'll take, Zolpidem to try to get myself to go to sleep. It's like, oh, I just say, this is how I want to sleep right now. And it looks like an app running on your phone rather than this complicated thing. And most people will look at that and go, that sounds pretty nice. I got on this 12-hour plane and I basically said, I do not want to be awake for the next 12 hours. And I wake up completely refreshed with my circadian rhythm. People say, okay, this other stuff sounds scary. That my friends have all done it and they've all told me it works well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try that. Once you start thinking about brain-computer interfaces, you'd say, oh, how can we create a hand? So like some of the projects you're working on that we're involved with right now are related to creating synthetic hands for people who don't actually have hands, right? So it turns out game engines are really useful because they simulate a lot of the information that you would need in order to create a simulated hand for somebody. And so the question, as soon as you do that, you say, oh, can we give people a tentacle? And you think, oh, brains were never designed to have tentacles. But it turns out brains are really flexible. Your body's ability to incorporate new things into it has to be flexible, because you use tools and you want to use the end of the tool as if it's part of your body. And you, in fact, if you look at the parts of people's brains that light up, it's exactly the same. You can make people think they hurt by injuring their tool, which is a complicated topic in and of itself. So it's probably going to be a lot easier for people to have these extraneous limbs. And it's just a question of how hard we can push it before we need to have medication augmented neuroplasticity.
All right. So he started off telling you that God created something that was broken. But no, God created something that was perfect, and it's broken through sin. So, and then he goes on to tell you that we can perfect humanity, we can update you, upgrade you, we can edit you, we could put signals in and take signals out, and on and on and on he went. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like you're seeing this theological debate just play out in real time in right now, in 2026. It's just like people who think that's imperfect and you got to tamper with it.
Right.
God's plan wasn't perfected. We can do our own thing.
Yeah. Humanism 101, right? So we're almost done. So that's the T800. And the reason I'm showing this is because you see human skin on him, right? And he also has a he has a BCI, but obviously it's artificial, so this is a short clip. You won't get hit for this.
The CPU is a neural net processor, a learning computer.
Right. So if anyone out there thinks the term neural link or neural processor is new, it's very old. This is from Japan. It's gross. So if you don't like gooey stuff, look away. Here we go. So I said it before in the last show that they're developing skin, blood, muscles for robots, and it's been around for a while. So I'm just showing you. This is Japan, I think 2 years ago, creating these skins, and it looks weird and freaky, and they're using stuff to make it move. So that's a part of the whole human 2.0. Getting robots to be everywhere that look just like us. There's a TV show called Humans that you need to check out. Pretty freaky. And so let's keep going because we're running out of time. So
we're 142.
Yeah, this next one is
a lot of grounds.
Mormons and Transhumanism. As you see down there, Mormon Transhumanist Association, right? So this is one of the breakdowns of their thing.
Mormonism is, above all other things, changed toward and fully immerse both our bodies and our minds in the role of Christ. To become gods and saviors, to console and to heal, and to raise each other up together. This is the heart of Mormonism. This underlies Mormon transhumanism. Mormons situate ourselves today in what we call the dispensation of the fullness of time as a time of great advancement in knowledge and power, when we should expect the sciences to flourish. Immortality is physical, it's embodied. There is in Mormonism this notion of progressively improving bodies as well. Our scriptures have this idea of a transfigured being receives a certain quality of body, then a resurrected being receives an even better body, more robust body. I am a transhumanist, not despite my Mormonism, but rather I'm a transhumanist because of my Mormonism. My Mormonism mandates transhumanism. Our scriptures require implicit transhumanism. And many Mormons are transhumanists, not because we're trying to find a solution to fix our religion. Our religion led us to transhumanism. We feel a spiritual mandate to engage in transhumanism.
Spiritual mandate seems to be the theme here, right? Now this one is a short trailer about this freaky looking robot here. So let's move on.
So this is Emo, our 5th generation face robot. It's really a platform to study this very important communication channel for humans, which is facial expressions.
That is astounding.
We ended up just letting these robots watch themselves in the mirror, learn to make faces, learn what they look like, and then watch YouTube. Within a few hours, they learn how to make all kinds of faces, smile, frown. They're just learning by watching people.
Can we really say these robots are self-aware?
I think it's not a black and white question. They're definitely not self-aware at a level of a human. There's no doubt about that. But they're tiny little bit self-aware. And that level of self-awareness will grow. Robots are sort of like children right now, but they'll evolve. And they'll evolve rapidly.
All right. Anything to say about that? Before I go to the next one?
Yeah, go ahead. It's just like accelerating.
All right. So these are two news anchors who kind of awkwardly try to explain transhumanism, and we're almost done, guys.
Nanotechnology, genetic selection, even brain implants. Sounds like science fiction, but it's actually real.
Yeah, they're coming to a hospital near you in this month's Big Idea. Ben Simino shows us some of the incredible breakthroughs happening right now.
We can upload his consciousness. We can save him.
The merging of man and machine, creating a superhuman.
Your friends, they don't know the danger.
Yes, this is fiction, the Johnny Depp movie Transcendence. The mind of Depp's character is uploaded onto a computer and it spirals out of control. It's a big idea, a man backed with the power of a machine. Some call it transhumanism.
The dictionary definition of transhumanism would be the belief that we can push past the limits of human abilities.
That sounds awfully futuristic, but author, dreamer, transhumanist Ramez Nam says that future is already here.
Our age already looks very science fiction to someone born a century ago. If you use an iPhone, you're sort of a transhuman to a certain extent. You have these new abilities we didn't used to have.
But what if you can't hear or see? Let's take things a step further and go inside the body. That's where technology is leading to amazing advances.
I think the future is limitless.
Dr. Sean McMenemy is a surgeon at Manhattan's NYU Langone Medical Center, who on a regular basis places implants in the brain. That's right, the brain.
Resistance is futile.
No, we are not the Borg, the half-human, half-robot species from Star Trek, but brain implants are, these days, normal, especially for people without a critical link like a damaged or missing nerve connecting the ear and brain.
Before the advent of the brainstem implant, there was nothing available for them. They were going to be without sound for their entire life.
As an audiologist, Dr. Bill Shapiro teaches patients how to translate electric signals sent by the implant into sounds.
So what do they hear? How quickly do they hear? It depends on the patient. It's variable. There are patients that are able to understand speech almost immediately.
Implants are limited for sure, but they give new hope.
Left leg up.
Helping the paralyzed regain movement in Kentucky and the blind to see in Michigan. Just this January, patients there received the first U.S. implants of a bionic eye, engineered by the company Second Sight. So we're going inside the body to help people hear and see. But what about fight disease? Well, thanks to nanotechnology, that's about to happen, giving the phrase under your skin a whole new meaning.
Right here is the plaque.
Okay.
Plaque buildup.
At Columbia University Medical Center, Dr. Ira Tavis is working on a nanoparticle to slow down the buildup of plaque in arteries, which can lead to a heart attack. His nanoparticles, designed with Harvard doctor Omid Farrokhzad, are cloaked in stealth technology, bind themselves to the plaque, and deliver drugs on the spot. Nanoparticles also have huge potential in treating cancerous tumors.
You can get exactly the drug you want, exactly the place you want it.
But maybe cancer and heart disease will become a thing of the past. Technology is about to let parents combine their DNA virtually to see if a potential child is genetically likely to develop disease. Some worry it could lead to designer babies, but it excites Ramez Nam.
I'm not sure that selecting some of the genes for our children is that different than selecting what schools they go to, picking their diets, picking what books we read them.
It's all about making mankind stronger, smarter, and healthier. Who doesn't want that? Ben Simino, Fox 5 News.
All right, so they always tell you the pros, not the cons. Don't worry, this is safe. This is the next leap in evolution and humanity, and we'll wipe out diseases and all these platitudes. But they never tell you what can go wrong, like people implanting nightmares, you getting hacked, your arm, whatever, you know. And there's also a term out there called the Internet of Bodies. You want to go look that up, guys. So this last thing is very short, less than a minute. I want you to see that with all this altruistic, you know, and all these platitudes and whatever, there's some people that will do things to stop you from stopping them from becoming a god. And here's one.
We are going to become gods. Period. If you don't like it, get off. You don't have to contribute. You don't have to participate. But if you're going to interfere with me becoming God, you're going to have big trouble. And we'll have warfare. The only way you can prevent me in this 50 or is to kill me. If you kill me, I'll kill you.
You'll kill me, I'll kill you. Let's see how that works out. That's it, guys. That's it.
It's incredible stuff. Like, these people are on the road to godhead, and you can't get in their way. You know, if they're trying to become a god, like, whoa.
Yeah, think like
whoa,
Satan,
what's your
act like
impediment?
Satan.
Yeah. It's strange days indeed. I mean, this stuff is really happening. It's all through these files, Epstein files, which I've been reading a lot of, and it's just everywhere.
Yep.
It's really what these guys think. The tech elite thinks kind of like this, you know, like
Right.
transhumanism, eternal life.
Mhm.
Teal puts like baby's blood on his body or does infusions or something.
Yeah.
Also, that life extension guy, I forgot his name. He's all into this stuff. It's really something else.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The younger guy.
He
Wants
doesn't
to
look
say,
very healthy to me, but I mean, he
Yeah.
says that he's got the body of a 35-year-old. He looks like kind of like a ghoul. Like, eat some food, bro.
Right? I mean, it's inevitable. God told you, told Adam and Eve, the minute you eat from that, you will surely die. And that's what we're dealing with. And the only way out of this mess to have eternal life is Jesus Christ. There's no other way. And humanity, following the leading of Satan, the temporary god of this world, will enter a time that's called the worst time of humanity, where God pours out his wrath on sin, and there's other things that go with that. So it's all, as the Borg would say, what did the Borg say? It's all futile.
It's all futile. That's right. Sabrina Wallace, useful internet on Internet of Bodies. That's what's really scary, is like, we're not going to have a choice whether we're going to be integrated with machines or not. Like, wow. Like, there's just so much, and everything's going to be chipped. Everything's going to be sentient or have some type, like, because of the power of processing. Your fridge is going to have stuff, your mic, your computer, your cell phone, if it's not already there. It's
Smart homes, smart cities, mega cities. Look up America 2050. Go to the images, and you'll see all sorts of diagram how they're going to turn America into a mega city region. Mega city regions all over America, but mostly on the coastlines. That's a part of the technocratic movement as well, and nobody is going to stop that because everybody's on board with technocracy.
Right. You're absolutely right. And they're going to call it smart. So if you're not going along with it, Chris, you're not smart. Don't even want to be with the crowd. All behavioral psychology, Ash experiment type stuff.
Yeah.
Better go along. Isn't this your best of all possible worlds? It's almost like.
And on the topic of artificial intelligence, you want to read a book. I didn't finish reading the book, but the author was in I forgot the author's name, but the name of the book is The Art-elect War. Now, you can find
the what? The what war?
The Art-elect War, like artificial intelligence. Art-elect War. It's on in physical form. It's pretty expensive because there's not many around anymore. But I found a copy on a e-site, so I could send that to you. But it's a book that people should read. It's pretty much it's talking about the divide of humanity. One side is going to be on artificial intelligence, and the other side is going to be like the resistance. And I don't believe this is going to happen based on the Bible. Okay, but he pretty much says that the world is going to get so much in battle about this issue. But if artificial intelligence gets to its zenith, he talks about something called giga death.
Okay, well, that doesn't sound fun.
We're talking about killer robots, drones, autonomous stuff.
It's already happening. That's what they're targeting people in Gaza and Iran. Like it's like some kind of targeting software.
Yeah,
that's really what's happening. So the giga death is real. Like the Skynet concept is ahead of its time. You showed that from Terminator. It is absolutely real. Like no, it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, we're already living a clown world and an idiocracy. So.
It's just it is like some kind of Hieronymus Bosch painting where just like things are whacked out. I mean, some of the people I talk to, they have no idea what's really going on. They're just completely passive, like cows going in a pen. Like, I mean, not exaggerating. Like, I had somebody talking to him, and he just looked at me and blinked like a deer in the headlights as a human being. He just went like this to me. He just went. I'm like, do you read it all? Don't you know what's going on? He had no idea. The consequences. Like, we're literally going from one age to another.
Yeah.
Like, it's going from like the Stone Age to the Bronze Age. This is like something from like the Industrial Age to the AI age.
Yeah. Like Klaus Schwab said, it's the fourth industrial revolution.
There you go.
You're gonna have the Internet of Things. You're gonna have the Internet of Bodies. You're gonna have 5G, 6G, 7G, 8G, and YG. For those that don't know those terms, look it up. It's coming, and China already has 6G. And the reason why they need that infrastructure is because artificial intelligence will thrive without a bottleneck, and it will be able to control things.
The guy I had on before you runs the 6G report. I should get you guys together because like he just shows these studies about 6G. What they're planning is just total like technological sentience on everything.
Yep.
So they just know where you are. They already kind of do now if you have a cell phone.
Right.
But like if you become an Internet of Bodies, like what they're experimenting with COVID apparently is you don't get a choice. You don't get sovereignty. You don't get choice. And there's always some psychopath who wants to treat people in the worst way possible. And that's just kind of like, whoa. So,
and it's like,
at least have a choice in it. Like that's what these shows and all the research you do.
Yeah.
It's like people like you do is it gives people an understanding of like, hey, do you really want to go into this? Because I don't. Like I want to go live on a farm and grow my own food.
Yeah.
Like that's what I never thought I'd think that. Like the food today, I mean, so here in LA, like the portion size is half what it used to be with double the price. It's crazy.
Yeah. And
I spent $30 on food the other day, and I got a portion that was like for somebody's tiny. Like I'm like, what is going on? Is it all private equity now? Anyway, it's just like you got to make these conscious decisions, guys.
And one thing on the Internet of Bodies, though, there's some good to it, right? I'm a diabetic. I have to wear a continuous glucose monitor, right? And it saved my life pretty much. You know, I know what my blood sugars look like all the time. Then there's the issue of if you are a person that take insulin, there's no off grid for you. You have to depend on the system to give you your insulin to take a shot. So there's some of you guys can not necessarily escape because they know everything everywhere already, satellites and all that stuff. But people like myself would have to stay close to a city or somewhere that has a big box store where I can get insulin or the continuous glucose monitor. Wearables. There was an article, you could search this all over the place, where a lot of people are going to be wearing wearables.
Right.
That's the Internet of Bodies.
They're already doing it now. They sell it to you as like a positive. It's these workout things,
Oh, yeah.
Like the band or whatever. Like, hey, you can monitor your heart rate and all this stuff. Like, whoa, that's going straight to Jeff Bezos, guys.
Yeah. All the echoes, the Ring doorbell. These corporations buy up all these companies and fuse them into one, and there you have a whole grid. They're probably like 3 corporations, like the tech.
Yeah, no,
that own
it's like a science fiction movie, man. It's like Blade Runner, Philip K. Dick.
Right.
I bought this stuff from Amazon, and it has on there something on the label that I've never seen before. It says, Alexa, reorder Amazon Basics again. It literally says that. So like you literally ordered something from, or I ordered something from Amazon. I don't have Alexa, but it's basically just telling you to have this monitoring sound in your place. Just reorder it again.
Yeah.
So it'll go onto your Amazon account and just start sending you stuff. Like, yeah, it's we're there, man. We're there.
Oh, there's a guy that wrote the book Technocracy Rising. You ever had him on?
Yeah, no, I should have him on. I think he just published another book with Courtney Turner.
Yeah, real good stuff.
I saw that. I saw him. Wood? Something Wood?
And Andy?
Sounds right. So Patrick Wood?
Andy Wood? Patrick Woods. Andy's the preacher.
Yeah, I know I should reach out to him. I saw that they came out with a new book, and I should have him on to talk about it. I've just been busy with other stuff. Traveled last week.
Yeah.
Chris, we are at the 2-hour mark. Is there anything you'd like to add? Anything I missed? Where can people find your work? What have you been working on?
Well, just pay attention to what's going on around you. There's more to this talk, but if you ever have me back on, I'll do the rest. And just reach out. Don'tLetThemBurn.com. You can reach me on Telegram, YouTube, Rumble, X. Those are the main hubs. If you have a question, you can shoot it there. And go to the archives. We have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with tech, genetics, Hollywood, comic books, video games, and a bunch of other subjects in between. So
you're being exposed to these ideas, guys, just like Chris is showing through all the common culture. It's all there. Like it's almost like we're at a time where we have the same arguments. Maybe we're just so oversaturated, but it's like the philosophies are really in front of your face. Like, what's your impression and how you're going to do it, and how do you respond to that stuff?
Yeah.
And
besides myself talking here, how many times did you hear the term evolution put in front of your face over and over and over again? It's what it is. So
trust the science too. Just like it's just we're all being bombarded with that stuff. Did you ever have Billy Crone on your show?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so he's been on there. I gotta go and listen to those. I gotta catch up. Don't Let Them Burn YouTube. You have a link tree too, right? I think you said this is the last thing.
Yes,
so I'll re-put the link tree up there. And we had 365 live listeners. So thanks everybody for listening on all platforms. If you're only hearing this show, I keep getting people to say, they're probably not even listening, but if you are listening to the audio that's on speaker, you can go to one of the sites I mentioned at the intro or go to Chris's YouTube and watch it live. I'm going to give him the video, but you can also watch it on my YouTube, William Ramsey Investigates, X, Rumble, or Rockfin. You can see the live slides and the videos that Chris showed. So you don't have the only option, you just have to check the tab button in YouTube too. Because what YouTube did, it used to only be videos. But now when I upload my stuff to Spreaker, it goes to their audio only site. So you can just do audio too if you like, if you prefer that. But if you really want to watch the video, and eventually it looks like iTunes and Spreaker or Spotify have video. So a lot of the stuff, video stuff, my old videos, I have to upload and re-upload and do all that stuff. But you do have an option. You do have an option to do that. And you can also check out my Patreon where I upload everything. William Ramsey Investigates. There's just a lot of options there, but you also I have 5 books. People can check those books out. Crowley books. I've got stuff on who we mentioned, Aquino today, which is in the global death cult. Pretty dark stuff about Aquino. My older shows about Aquino. Anyway, anything you'd like to add before I wrap it up, Chris? Anything else?
The last thing I'll say is this is not about fear. This is about information. And if you're not saved, turn to Jesus Christ today. And I'll end with that.
Amen. Great way to end it. Thanks so much for your time, Chris. And
thank you.
Have you back soon. Thanks. Stay there.